Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Let's get the latest on our outdoor tidbits with our good friend, Mr. Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. And Jake, that's where a lot of people are, kind of chimed in with some questions here. They were wondering about ice conditions, and I don't know if you've been out on the ice too much with the warmer weather out there, but I got to imagine in some areas it's probably not too good right now.
No, I haven't been out too much. I mean, I've been checking guys here and there, but not really exploring the ice. Just like if it was a cold year, we kind of tell you the same thing. Is like make sure to go around and check it. Always, be checking, doing some experimental holes, and just making sure where you're going is safe. This year is going to be really important, to check the internet or check your local bait shops and just kind of find out what's going on, because there's some places where you can definitely see ice, but it's not safe. So you just really got to be safe this late winter, early spring, like it feels like, even though it's January or February 1st.
Right, and I've been seeing some lake associations even saying, posting on Facebook and such, might want to go pull off your shacks if you got some permanent ones out there. Are you kind of starting to see that around some other local lakes and such?
Yeah, there's obviously some shacks out there. You don't see those big monster ones you typically would this time of year. So if those ones are out there, I'd for sure be pulling those, because, the ice is one thing, and most shack owners know this, but the ice is one thing, but the landings is another. So, sometimes there's good ice on these lakes, or decent ice, but you can't access them unless you're going off like a private landing or private property or something, because the travel use at some of these boat launches on like a tuna and stuff, it's so heavy that it melts before the rest of the lake. So you just got to be really aware of that too.
Jake, I don't know if, maybe not so much around here, but is it, because I saw the DNR posted this on their Facebook page the other day, or I think it was just yesterday. I mean, because you got the sturgeon spearing, season, coming up there too with those ice conditions. I mean, that's got to affect that, I would imagine. Yeah,
I know they're really watching that. I was talking to some wardens over there the other day, and kind of like the Berkey too, is they're just kind of waiting to see. I think there's going to be a lot of game time decisions with ice conditions for sturgeon spearing, snow conditions for the Berkey, and just kind of wait and make the best of whatever nature gives you at that specific moment.
And I know we've had some ice fishing contests like Jigs Up is being canceled as well. So definitely, can you think of another year like this where we've had like a warm January and February like this, Jake?
I can't personally. I know when I used to work out in Appleton, the ice was pretty sketchy. That would have been like 2018.
Okay.
That would have been like 2018-ish, 17 for the sturgeon conditions, but I was still driving my squad on the ice, so it was obviously good enough for that.
Right.
I can't, in my career, I can't remember something like this.
Yeah, it's kind of...
I don't know, 50 degrees on January 31st. I just expect to be driving down the highway and seeing turkeys fanned out and stuff like that, but we're still 3 months away from that, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I should be asking you some spring turkey hunting questions or something like that to get going, or even, heck, opening day for open water fishing for crying out loud out there. But it's just, it's so, I don't know how to describe it. Like, weird is the only word that comes to mind.
It's weird. It's kind of surreal. I think a lot of people, it feels like spring's here, but you got to be mindful that in 2 weeks from now it could drop back down to cold snaps and be freezing and making ice and even snow, and that would be normal conditions, So who knows what the next month or two is going to hold for us.
So what's that like for, maybe in your position, if there is open water, let's say, a lot of these lakes are melted off and I mean, maybe some more shore fishing. I mean, do you have to kind of change what you do for your job?
Yeah. So we're pretty, I don't want to say we chase the people, but we're always just following what everyone else is doing. So, if it's ice, obviously that's why we're on the ice. But if there's no ice and people are on the boats or the shorelines, or they're doing some early season trout fishing because that's the best opportunity now, then that's what we'll be doing. So, kind of like I mentioned a week or two ago, we always seem like we have follow up from the fall, whether it's different deer complaints or hunting complaints that we kind of finish up, and that's what we're doing a lot of. But we're also getting out there and checking fishermen and doing stuff like that. And I've definitely been hitting some of like the shoreline fishermen in different spots, because that's kind of where some people are along the river per se.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Chippewa is unique, where the Chippewa, you can fish there year round, and a lot of times it is open.
I feel like, was it last year, in the spring, we were talking about the insane high water levels.
Yeah, it was.
And I almost feel like right now maybe we don't have to worry about that when it gets to spring at this point.
Well, at this point, yeah, we're not going to have that big winter melt-off because there's no snow up north. So unless, winter comes really, really, really late, you're right, we might not have that big influx of, melt and rain and stuff like that. And it might kind of be a more docile spring where you're able to fish longer, which is good sometimes too. Those floods help a lot of different ecosystems, not only the river, but some of those areas that need the flooding.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it makes it hard for us sometimes to fish or access those backwater areas. So maybe we'll have a better spring fish this year.
You mentioned trout fishing to kind of wrap it up here. Are we potentially seeing more people take advantage of this weather, and maybe more people going out trout fishing right now?
Yeah, I got a few calls on it. People are interested in it that I don't think they normally would be, because they'd be out pounding the hard water.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think there's some people taking advantage of that season. It's a catch and release season. Most places are no live bait, and I think a lot of them are actually barbless hooks as well. So just, if you're going to experiment into that, make sure you read the rigs close. But I do know, Minnesotans and Western Wisconsin people, Minnesotans are really utilizing, the trout streams in Pepin and Pierce County and St. Croix County and stuff like that. So I know there's a lot of interest in it, because we're getting a lot of complaints and seeing a lot of people out on the west side of the state, which includes here a little bit too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I've been seeing some stuff on Facebook and Instagram and all that too, going on over there. So, and it's a little, like, I've got the trout regs up there too, and I know you kind of always say it, check the regulations and such, because there is a lot of different details when it comes to trout.
And I'm not a big fan of saying our rigs are complicated, because a lot of times there's a lot of them, but they're pretty streamlined and laid out pretty well if you take the time to read through them. But the trout rigs are a little bit harder, because there's just a lot of, there's trout streams, there's trout lakes, there's trout rivers, there's designated streams, undesignated ones, there's different seasons, and then the map kind of it's user-friendly, but it's not, chronological. You might have to, go from page 14 to page, 28 just to see the county over and the streams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do use the trout rigs, they're really well done, but just make sure to dig into them a little bit so you're reading them correctly.
Absolutely. He's Jake Bolks, our conservation warden. Dude, we appreciate the time. I know it's pretty foggy out there, so be safe out there if you're traveling or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, and be safe out there too if you gotta go out on the ice or anything like that.
Yeah,
so.
No, I appreciate it. I'll be I'm going to be out checking some fishermen this weekend. There still are fishing tournaments and stuff. I mean, we still have enough ice to do that. So, there's still opportunity for people that are listening. There's a lot of tournaments going on still, so you can still utilize them. Like you said, just be safe when you go there too.
Definitely. All right, Jake, we appreciate it as always, buddy, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Okay.
Sounds great, Dan. Thanks, guys.
You got it. There you go. Jake Bolks, conservation warden, joining us for our outdoor tidbits. Reminder: if you miss any of our segments with Jake, we're going to put that up in a podcast form. It'll be part of the Man Cave podcast, but it's going to be just that separate. That way you can check it if you miss it anytime. Again, you want to follow or subscribe to the Man Cave podcast, brought to you by Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford, wherever you get your podcasts, or on our website at sportstalk1051.com.